My name is Sarah, and I'm 27 years old. I've been married to my husband, Jack, for 2 years now. When we first met, it felt like a fairy tale. He was charming, funny, and made me feel like the most important person in the world. We'd spend hours talking about our dreams, our favorite books, and the life we wanted to build together. But now, it feels like I'm living in a nightmare. The change didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, like the slow fading of sunlight on a winter evening. At first, it was small things, a snide comment here, a dismissive gesture there. But over time, it grew into something darker, something I couldn't ignore. Jack has become critical, distant, and often angry. No matter what I do, it's never enough. He tells me I'm selfish, that I don't care about him or his family. He says I only think about myself. His words cut deep, and I find myself crying more often than not. I try so hard to be a good wife. I cook his favorite meals, keep the house spotless, and work full-time to contribute to our finances. But it's never enough. Every day, he finds something new to criticize. Why didn't you iron my shirt properly? You're always so lazy. Why can't you do more? You don't care about anyone but yourself. His words echo in my mind, and I've started to believe them. Maybe I am selfish. Maybe I'm not good enough. The worst part is the fear. I'm afraid to do anything for myself because I know Jack will disapprove. If I buy myself a new dress, he'll say I'm wasting money. If I take a day off work to rest, he'll call me lazy. Even when I'm exhausted, I push myself to keep going because I'm terrified of his reaction. I feel like I'm losing myself. The confident, happy woman I used to be is gone, replaced by someone who feels small and worthless. One evening, after a particularly harsh argument, I locked myself in our bedroom and cried. Jack had yelled at me for forgetting to pick up his dry cleaning. "You're so selfish," he said. "You never think about anyone but yourself." I sat on the edge of the bed, tears streaming down my face, and asked myself, what's wrong with me? Why can't I make him happy? But deep down, I knew the truth. It wasn't about me. It was about him. The next day, I decided to talk to my best friend, Emily. She's always been my rock, the one person who tells me the truth, even when it's hard to hear. "Sarah," she said, "you can't keep living like this. You're giving everything to Jack, and he's giving nothing back. You deserve to be happy." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. For the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe I didn't have to keep sacrificing my happiness for someone who didn't appreciate me. I started making small changes. I took a yoga class on Saturdays, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the courage to try. At first, I felt guilty, like I was being selfish for taking time for myself. But as the weeks went by, I began to feel stronger, both physically and emotionally. I also reconnected with old friends. I'd been so isolated since marrying Jack, but now I made an effort to reach out. We'd meet for coffee, go for walks, or just talk on the phone. It felt good to laugh again, to feel like myself again. One day, I decided to start journaling. I bought a beautiful notebook and began writing down my thoughts and feelings. It was therapeutic, like pouring my heart out onto the page. I wrote about my fears, my hopes, and my dreams. And slowly, I began to see things more clearly. At first, Jack didn't notice the changes, but when he did, he wasn't happy. "Why are you spending so much time away from home?" he asked one evening, his tone sharp. "I'm just trying to take care of myself," I replied, my voice trembling. He scoffed. "You're being selfish again. What about me? What about our marriage?" His words stung, but for the first time, I didn't let them break me. "Jack," I said, "I've been trying so hard to make you happy, but nothing I do is ever enough. I need to take care of myself too." He didn't respond. He just walked away, leaving me standing there, feeling both scared and empowered. The days that followed were tough. Jack was distant and cold, and I felt the weight of his disapproval. But I also felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: strength. One evening, after another tense argument, I made a decision. I sat Jack down and told him how I felt. I love you, I said, but I can't keep trying to make you happy if you're never happy with me. I need to focus on myself. I need to be happy with who I am. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me, his expression unreadable. I didn't know what the future held for us. Maybe our marriage would survive. Maybe it wouldn't. But I knew one thing for sure: I was enough. I always had been. Over the next few months, I continued to focus on myself. I took up painting, something I'd always been curious about but never had the courage to try. I joined a book club and made new friends who shared my interests. And slowly, I began to feel like myself again. Jack and I started couples therapy, and while it wasn't easy, it helped us communicate better. We still had our struggles, but I no longer felt like I was carrying the weight of the relationship alone. Looking back, I realized that I had spent so much time trying to be the perfect wife that I had forgotten to be myself. I had let Jack's criticism define me, but now I knew better. I am enough. I always have been. And while my journey isn't over, I'm finally learning to love myself, flaws and all.